roster change. So here we go, Ilios, EnVision, and bye week. Take it away, boys.
Well, you stop and think about it where it's not Pizza Dude, it's Pizza Demon. So he's a demon of pizza is what we're dealing with here, Jamerson. And he plays sport.
We got Zod, now we got Pizza Demon. We just have everything here. Next is going to be like Stuffed Crust. But here we are. It's in ruins, so we do have the Sombras coming out from both sides, and it's the race over to the Mega Health Pack. Not quite sure who gained control of it, but Buds versus Leffa now on the Widowmakers.
Right, and this is going to be a harsh baptism here for Leffa. We know that Buds is very good on Widowmaker, but this is where we'll see what Leffa has in store. But the tank line of bye week goes up really aggressively here. Both, one Diva's demacked, another Winston's killed, and EnVision, they can just roll into the point. It's up to bye week now to make a play to somehow reverse course here, but you're down 2 tanks. It's not going to happen. They give up first control almost effortlessly.
Yeah, and Buds, it looked like he was just waiting for his opportunity on that Widowmaker, while Leffa was just taking his chance to take pop shots at anyone who was available there. That's why we're seeing a little bit of a difference in the ultimate charge there. He was contributing a little bit more damage that helped out bye week ultimately, but it was EnVision who were able to take the point now. So Buds, once again, able to push forward with this Widowmaker, play a bit more aggressively now.
And Buds, he's going to be looking for Leffa, but more importantly, he's going to be looking to chunk tanks, because I do believe he chunked one of the tanks from bye week as they went in. Leffa's already under pressure in the back. He's very much has to back out. He's not going to be able to apply pressure for a while here because he's getting dove on in the back. I think it's Jaro that's pressured him. Meanwhile, EnVision, they just maintain control on the point right now. It's not up to them to be too aggressive here. It's up to bye week to move on in, and EnVision goes, we're actually fine holding back here. We're not going to be being too crazy, but we are going to isolate your Diva and take her out. They find Waifu in the right moment, and that lets Buds take down Leffa to the other side, and it's 2 for Buds, cleaning up the scraps as bye week must reset once more.
Yeah, bye week. They smelled blood in the water, and they try to chase down Shiny, who jumped over to the Mega Health Pack, and then from there, the rest of EnVision just jumped onto them. The counter dive coming in, really punishing bye week. Now EnVision sitting at 63%. Jaro has that EMP up, and so that's going to be huge coming into this next fight.
And bye week, they're very clumped up here. They need to spread out a little bit because you don't want to give Jaro the perfect EMP, right? Where you get the Zenyatta, then also hit the rest of the team with the EMP. So bye week, they're going to open up here at the recon site, looking for their way in, and Crimzo takes down Pizza Demon on the side. Now, you might not even have to use that EMP. Aether is going to move in, and look, they use the EMP, they dive on in, and Aether's so far out of the fight that the fight's going to be over before he can really be a part of it.
Fight's over. It's already at 90% now for EnVision, and so they have pushed up basically into bye week's half of the spawn side. Now there we go, even a jump in coming out from Shiny. He's just zoning them all out. Leffa from spawn was able to get a frag onto Crimzo, but the rest of his team have to make a mad dash for the point. They're not even able to make it. EnVision with 100% donut on the opposite end.
And the problem we're seeing here for bye week, and this has been a consistent trend for them as well, is that they're not really great at engaging in typical tank setups. When they were doing well last week in those more traditional setups, it wasn't that their tanks were making the space per se. It was more so the idea that you had Sugar Free being a huge distraction, which sort of gave the tanks a modifier bonus, which gave them more room to work with. But EnVision, they won this on the fundamentals. They were able to isolate bye week tanks in the beginning, and then they were never really tested for control of the point after that.
Yeah, there was a moment on Ruins where Shiny was dropped down to about 100 HP. He was also hacked, so he wasn't able to make his jump on over to the Mega Health Pack. That was a critical moment for bye week to actually go in, but they just lost the momentum. They just lost any kind of initiative there. And so now, as we load onto Well here, we're going to see Crimzo going over to the Moira for EnVision, while bye week, they're going to try and turtle up a bit.
And for EnVision, they're going to use the Moira in closer up areas here, where they're not trying to run tons of tanks or anything. They're just more healing in a closed-in area, especially for this early fight. Might be able to build an early coalescence. And now we see EnVision working their way around. You have Buds going off the side flank here. Has a great lead-in on the supports. Gonna wait for a little bit more. Now he dives in, and bye week, they're pushed into a corner as EnVision starts diving in. Pizza Demon, under pressure, has to back out, but Dell's gonna fall. Jaro got right in there, and finally the pressure for EnVision takes down both supports, and that's gonna remove bye week's lifeline.
Both supports gone now, and so bye week, they do not have any sustain at all. Waifu gonna get demacked with the follow-up coming in. Buds will be able to finish off this baby Diva with the help of Crimzo, and with that EnVision will take the point first here. Now bye week, they really did try to go with this very turtle composition. They've got the Junkrat, they got the McCree to try and zone him out, but Buds was very patient. Jaro isn't though, he's on the hunt for this rat.
Well, and to that point, Jaru also already almost has EMP. Byweek was so clustered in the last fight that anything he was shooting with this SMG was guaranteed to hit someone, which means he's going to have a very early EMP up by current Sombra standards. So Byweek, they're going to be coming in here, and now you look at Jaru, right? Jaru's here in the back. He's going to wait, and EnVision has to be careful. They're a little bit far up, but it doesn't matter. Buds takes down 2, a pulse bomb and a clip, and Jaru gets to save it. He wasn't even a part of that fight.
As Byweek, you're not supposed to let that happen at all. When the supports are that close to each other, the Mercy should be pocketing the Zenyatta if he's getting clipped down. He should not have been able to two-clip him there, but now that's just going to buy more time for EnVision. Jaru still has the EMP, so they can just extend this lead out even further.
And you're seeing the difference here for Byweek where they don't have that Tracer threat. They aren't really pressuring EnVision much on the sides. Now they're going to dive in, but there's the EMP. iShiny leaps in right after. And again, it's just easy cleanup for EnVision. They're out initiating every time. The EMP did more than enough. And Byweek already down to their final 2 fights.
Yeah, when you play this turtle composition, I mean, it just leaves yourself so weak to the counter initiative coming out from EnVision. They are running that dive composition. They've got Buds, who's just all over the place, and he's been in the backline, and he still has to worry about a damage boosted McCree along with the Junkrat, but he has no fear. He is binding his timing windows so perfectly right now.
I'm not sure he has to worry about the damage boosted McCree. We haven't really seen Leffa apply that much pressure to the Buds. I don't think Buds has felt particularly pressured in this case. He's been able to go in, have the run of things here. You see Leffa get hacked early on, and now Buds moves in, and the pulse bomb connects, takes down 1 with the bomb, 2 right after, just clipping people left, right, and center, and EnVision making things look easy on the revenge tour as they're well on their way to taking this round and taking them out.
98%. We are now in overtime as a Riptire coming in from spawn. Aether will fall to Buds, and with that, as overtime ticks away, EnVision will take an easy 2-0 victory here on Ilios.
We saw kind of a repeat of Byweek's performance up until this point. They seem to have gotten overwhelmed really quickly on that.
They got overwhelmed, but also I just think the mechanical skill wasn't there compared to even previous weeks. Pizza Demon came in relatively weak. He didn't get the pickoffs that we saw Dogman get in the same situation last week. And certainly, they weren't really a threat on the flanks. You didn't have Sugar Free on Tracer, making opportunities happen, making more room for the tanks off the flanking play. EnVision outclassed Byweek in every facet of the game here.
There's a replay that we have. This is Bud on Tracer with a double kill for EnVision. If you guys want to kind of walk us through this.
I mean, he was just free this entire time. There was no point where he wasn't behind. He was always in between the enemy spawn and the enemy team, and that's kind of not where you want to thrive as a, I mean, you want to thrive as a Tracer, but usually you're not that free to do so. You always have to worry about the damage-boosted concussive mine, which can one-shot you coming out from the Junkrat, but he was always free to do whatever he wanted. He found perfect timing windows also. I mean, he was waiting for hacks to come off onto the McCree so he didn't have to worry about the flashbang. There were little micro plays coming out from Buds that just made it work so well.
I mean, one thing to note here, though, is that McCree can still threaten a Tracer even after you get hacked. He is actually one of the better kits to work with after being hacked, and Leffa really did not have a firm grasp of how to keep Buds in check, even before the fight got into play. And also, there was no Tracer there, right, that Buds had to worry about, where generally Tracers have to worry about other Tracers. One of the downsides of not running a Tracer yourself is that the other Tracer gets to go, oh my goodness, no one can follow me. I can do anything I want, and that's pretty much what Buds did. Buds did whatever he wanted.
Let's go ahead and check out the map selection. So again, this is going to be Byweek's choice, and they are going to go ahead and take us to Hollywood, which they did not have much success on this in the past.
Again, it is Byweek still trying to figure out their identity because they are constantly swapping out members at this point. The fact that over there on Well in the last round, they ended up playing the Junkrat McCree, I feel like that's what they're going to go for on their defense. Once again, the Junkrat McCree on point A can be good, but still, this is where I feel like Buds is going to take off and just never let go of the pressure.
So it really kind of depends, again, what Byweek is playing for. Are they playing for experience to try and learn with their new roster, or are they trying to win? Because if they're trying to win, this is a point where I make the call and go, please run quad tank. I never thought I would be saying this as a person saying, please run quad tank. But the issue here is that you have a new roster. You are getting out mechanically skilled on almost every position right now. You're not going to win without a gimmick the way you're playing right now. So why not try and run the quad tank again? At this point, I kind of feel like Byweek is out of options.
Jamerson, actually, I think both of you guys mentioned it at some point. You kept saying that it was like a turtle composition. What is that? What does that mean?
I mean, so they were running that Orisa, and the Orisa isn't that mobile at all. Orisa Diva is just about mitigating damage, especially when a dive comes in and try to get the counter engage upon them, along with the McCree and the Junkrat. It's all about control at that point. So if a team comes in, you just try to control the avenue that they approach from, and then you have all this other hard CC to try and slow down the opposing team to buy your DPS time to get any damage off. The thing was, EnVision, they weren't scared at all. They would jump in at the precise moment. And so even though they tried to turtle, I don't think they turtled in the right positions did Bye-Week.
No, and you still have to check the Tracer and all that too, right? Especially if you're going to run a McCree, part of the expectation is that the McCree is going to be sort of providing this invisible force wall that the Tracer has to respect. The problem is that Buds had no respect for human life at all. He's just like, whatever, boop. Drops that pulse bomb, kills two.
Jaru's was playing pretty aggressive on Sombra too, as far as how far into the back line he was going and how long he was staying there.
I would say he was playing a very measured Sombra the way he was doing it. Luckily for him, again, the same case with Buds, right? He didn't have that much pressure. He did not fear the Junkrat. He did not fear the McCree at all. He found the perfect hacks, right? He would make sure, like, he would either go after a tank or after Leffa, who did have that control with the flashbang. And so when you don't have to worry about that flashbang, the rest of your tanks are able to dive in. Buds is able to go in. Jaru was creating the moments for Buds to be able to go in.
Well, we kind of talked about, too, this idea where, like, flankers and tanks working together, where flankers can make more space. Bye-Week can't rely on crazy good flanking play right now. They just can't, A. And then B, I also think their tanks are getting outskilled to an extent here as well. So where is Bye-Week going to make EnVision blink? I'm not seeing where that is right now, and it's a combination of all sorts of factors. But the bottom line, to really just simplify things, EnVision's just better right now.
Well, let's see if they can keep it up. We're going to go ahead and throw to map 2 between EnVision and Bye-Week, and we are taking it to Hollywood. Boys?
Hollywood. You know, I actually, when taking my ride in from LAX this week, I saw the Hollywood sign. Somehow my Uber pool like brought me in and around such a way I saw it, and it does not look anywhere near as glamorous as it does in this map.
Oh no, I mean, this is complete showbiz. I mean, that's like your #1 lesson as soon as you get over here to Los Angeles CP, that nothing is what it seems.
Everything is a lie.
Del, let's make this a true dream come true. Let's run that Hanzo, just go for it.
Well, I'm not opposed to them running a Hanzo here. Hanzo is something that can, and of course he's going to be swapping off, so they're not even going to try. I understand it's scatter arrow or sonic arrowing in the beginning to look for gimmicks, but honestly, an early pickoff, that's something that Bye-Week could love to have here, so something to give the momentum here in this map.
I mean, Pizza Demon, he now that he's coming in replacing Dogman, he doesn't have that same frag ability. It doesn't look like he's already gone down to Buds as they made their incursion onto the point. They try to wrap around to the right side to take over the cafe. Now, they were able to get the D-Mech, but they lose Shearshoy for that.
And they weren't able to finish off McGravy either. You take a look at McGravy, he's almost gotten his mech back up. So Bye-Week, it's just a tortured engage here where they lose 2 people early on. They're not able to reconsolidate. They're not able to finish their plate and deal with McGravy. And now, a minute is off the clock, and EnVision is looking very good.
Yeah, the hardest part about making that approach is, of course, making sure that your supports get in safely. Generally, the way you run this, of course, it's going to be tanks in the front line, your DPS in the mid, and then your support staying further back, right? But when you try to make that route into the right-hand side, your support stay in the back. That leaves that moment of opportunity for EnVision to just jump on them. That's what happened to Pizza Demon.
This is one of the last good opportunities here for Bye-Week. If they don't take this round, EnVision's going to be really stocked up on ultimate. So you see Bye-Week moving in. They've swapped to the Pharah. They're hoping that Aether can be well protected, maybe land a rocket or two to set up Leffa in the back to finish him off. But Bye-Week is being very tentative here. They're not going in with any form of urgency. They're giving EnVision time to set up and work. And more importantly, they're giving Buds time to build Pulse Bomb. He's going to go in, drops a Pulse Bomb. They're going for the D-Mech right now, and they're going to get it. Waifu is off the D-Mech, and they lost Aishani, so it's not the worst for Bye-Week here, but they need to be a little bit more aggressive. You've taken down the tank, get in McGravy's face, don't let McGravy heal up and work his way around as Buds has more time to tear you apart from the back.
Yeah, Buds taking out Waifu there will even it out, and they're also going to be able to get Shiny back into this fight now, but Aether is still free in the sky. Crimzo and Fire gone for EnVision. They are lacking sustain. Jaru going to go for the EMP, wants to try and stabilize this fight.
He got the Pharah, but he ends up dying in turn. This is not bad for Bye-Week. They lost 2. If Leffa can stay alive and Del can use the Valkyrie against the sky, that's what he's going to do. They can heal their tank front line. They can keep pushing forcing EnVision back, and now the key part here is just maintain composure, right? You have a little bit of an edge, you have a Transcendence coming in, you've killed the support. Don't throw away any kills stupidly here. You have an advantage as bye week, Aether's coming back in, Barrage locked and loaded, and now just gonna wait for Theresa to go away, drops the Barrage right on Crimzo, and that's what they needed as bye week is slowly starting to slog their way through. They just need a little bit more.
That was a great play by Aether, just bypassing the D.Va, making sure that he was not near dropping that Barrage, and finally, bye week looking to break this defense here. It's just Shiny. He's trying to step forward, but the point does go over. Bye week, keeping this alive. 3 minutes and 30 seconds now as we move on to the second phase. I thought things were going to turn a little bit sour for bye week because they did swap off Dell onto that Mercy earlier on. When he was on the Lucio, he was about 70% ultimate charge, and I thought resetting yourself would have really harmed them, but Aether, with the space in the world, with being able to just stay pocketed in the sky, getting the damage off, it was huge for them. Now, they're even contesting the high ground.
The Pharah Gambit so far has worked for bye week. It caught EnVision off guard. It got bye week just enough to get through because, again, if they didn't take that fight, it would have been very bad. EnVision, however, they're going to use the Coalescence here. They're going to wash some people down here as they move on forward, and it's going to be Dell that's taken out of the sky. So EnVision working with an edge. It's going to be up to bye week now, the reset. And now we'll see if they want to stick with this Pharah into stage 2, where it could be a little bit more tricky because there's more ways the Pharah can actually get engaged on, more verticality to worry about.
Yeah, definitely. Jaru, he can just stay on the high ground with, of course, this Sombra, the new Sombra updates to her hack. If you do hack that Pharah, she can't use her boosters anymore. She can't stay in the sky. She's instantly clipped. So Left is going to swap off onto the Widowmaker instead.
Meanwhile, Jaru in over the top. This is going to be an EMP. Drops it right in the back line. And EnVision moves right in off of it. But Jaru got picked. So bye week actually disengaging from this not too badly here. Now, they just have to worry about Buds. Don't let Buds stall this out. Get your respawns and come back in. EnVision, though, they have tools to delay here.
Yeah, they definitely delayed, especially getting the D-Mech onto Waifu. So now he's only at 20% towards being able to call that mech down. Lefa is just trying to find anything. But right now, EnVision, they're just playing the line of sight game. They're making sure that she's not able to get anything at all. Bud's taking the TBT right now. Aether, it's going to be a 2v1 as Jaru comes in, but he's able to make it out.
Well, it's more like Tracer and Sombra versus Tracer. Buds gets a little bit of help, and that's all he needs versus Aether, who, of course, no longer on the Pharah. They're no longer in the skies. They don't stick with it. And EnVision right now, again, is just dominating space. Bye week's finding a very difficult time of getting through this archway and actually starting fights the way they want to.
Yeah, right now, bye week, they're still trying to find that identity, how they want to run their compositions. We saw at the beginning, Leffel was actually the one on the Tracer started off on their initial offense. Now it's Aether on it, and he doesn't look that comfortable. Crimzo dropped down low, but he does have his support there. Now Shearshoy has to be careful. He's down to 1 HP. He falls to Jaru.
And the Transcendence couldn't save him time. Pizza Demon could not get there in time to save him. Now bye week, do you invest more? You've already used a Transcendence. Well, you've lost 2 people. Dell's going to have to hold the Valkyrie here as they reset. EnVision pushing back bye week once more. We're down to the final minute.
Shearshoy should not have taken that much damage. Crimzo gets picked off by Lefa. Now Lefa starting to push forward with this Widowmaker. He does have that recon sight, chunking down McGravy. Can they chase for this mech?
So they're going to try and stagger this as much as possible. They're going to get the D-Mech. Aether diving on in. McGravy forces him back. But while this is going on, Lefa has plenty of room to work with. They're going to get the staggers they need, but they still will have to deal with at least one good defense for EnVision on second.
Indeed, 30 seconds left for bye week. Try and get the second checkpoint. Keep this map alive for them now, but they have to contest. It's going to be Crimzo with the Transcendence along with Jaru, who's got the EMP ready. So we'll see if he goes after Pizza Demon, try to take him out instantly.
There's so many ways that EnVision can do this, but you're right. You just highlighted the easy way there. Dell's going to Valkyrie really early here. Doesn't want to really risk anything. Bye week's going to be more aggressive as a result. The problem is, where's Jaru? Jaru's in the back right now. Crimzo down. Jaru's still holding on to the EMP. Probably doesn't want to throw it out low, but does and gets punished for it. However, it's a trade. EnVision still in there as his bye week, but it's Buds once more on the flank. Being a pest in the back, and while he's a pest in the back, you got to get back on the payload. Bye week, running out of players, running out of time. And it's going to be EnVision holding them off here on second.
And as overtime ticks away, EnVision, we're able to really stabilize there on that defense bye week. Off the back of Lefa, really, once again, we're seeing the new DPS addition coming in for bye week, making a pretty big, substantial difference for the team, but it's just not enough once again. Well, it's kind of the sugar-free story all over.
Substantial difference compared to what? I mean, Lefa had a few moments there, but it's not really the impact that you had from sugar-free last week, where right now, if you're going against bye week, you're going, yes, I'm okay with this, and it's just a difference and sort of a testament to what a talent sugar-free was for them before. I mean, Lefa to my eye right now, he's clearly not on that level right now.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say, I definitely wouldn't put him at the same level as Sugar Free's performance, but I mean, this is what Bi-Week needed. This is what Bi-Week wanted, right? They always wanted the DPS. They knew that the quad tank wasn't going to run for them, so in second week, they brought in Sugar Free. Now they're trying Leffa, and still, at this point, it looks like neither Leffa or Aether are that comfortable on the Tracer, and that's the thing, right? Right now in Overwatch, it's an arms race. Who can get the better Tracer? And Bi-Week, sorry, but it looks like all of them have been snatched up.
Look, Overwatch right now is a game of T's, right? It's who are your tanks, who is your Tracer. I feel like these roles above everything else kind of dictate how aggressive a team can be, how they can initiate fights. And in the situation right now, you even look at how Bi-Week is playing this defense, right? Where they don't even want to run a Tracer in the situation. It's not that you have to run a defensive Tracer at all times, but when in doubt, they kind of trend away from running it right now. And that's not good. You're kind of conceding a large part of the game in its current state when you run like this.
All right, and so we are seeing Bi-Week going shades back to Ilios there. They do have the McCree along with the Junkrat on Ilios. Doing well, they weren't able to really do much at all. We'll see if Shirashoi and Waifu can create a bit more space with these mobile tanks instead of those very immobile tanks in Orisa. As EnVision, they're just going to go for the vanilla dive. They got the Genji, they've got the Tracer, and of course Shiny and McGravy on the D.Va and Winston respectively.
And I like this look from EnVision where they're not trying the shoehorn Sombra and everything. And sure, this might be a matchup here where they go, okay, we're going to be more just willing to experiment a little bit. And if the experiment is diving in quickly, that's what they're doing. They're not wasting any time at all. Already heading for the cafe is Jaru and Buds here. They're working their way around. Jaru, though, a little bit aggressive, has to back out. Very low here early on. Going to get healed up, and they get Leffa, who's so far away from the rest of his team. I don't know if he's going for a crazy flank or what, but it doesn't really work. And now, who's going to check Buds here? If he doesn't get hit by Zen, the answer's going to be no one.
Yeah, take a look at that. Almost took out the Junkrat. Aether does have the Mercy there, but no!
Oh.
Great pulse bomb comes in. Buds connects onto 2, and I thought Bi-Week might have just scrapped that back, but Buds, once again, coming up huge for EnVision.
The Buds nightmare isn't going to end until you put someone on Buds duty here. You can't give a Tracer this much space. It doesn't work. You must contain him or you will lose.
And right now, Buds, he knows that's true. He's already trying to get into the back now, try to find any stragglers here. The defense from Bi-Week. EnVision with 5 minutes and 10 seconds. Just need to push it about 70 more meters. Buds on top of that Zenyatta, but he has to back away. He had the pocket, but now Pizza Demon, be careful, you're alone.
But while he's doing this, by the way, he's distracting the sports. He gets the pick off. Meanwhile, who's healing the front line of Bi-Week? The answer is, well, Mercy very late. But while it was going on, tanks got chunked down. EnVision keeps control of the point, and now Buds gets to reap the benefits of his handiwork by just ripping apart a team that doesn't have that healing.
Weird coordination coming out from Bi-Week, to say the least. They already knew that their Zenyatta was being pressured in the backline, but they decided to engage upon EnVision instead of going back, peeling, getting rid of Buds, and then going for it. You saw Pizza Demon instantly went down once he didn't have the pocket of Dell.
Jaro set up. The pulse bomb went in from Buds, didn't succeed, but Jaro's just sitting here at the choke point, waiting to drop the blade when Bi-Week moves out. Might not realize there's a Transcendence in play, gonna back out just a bit. But now the key here, I think he was hoping that Buds would pull out the Transcendence and then he'd go at the blade. Didn't quite work out that way. There's the barrier. Now they get Pizza Demon. He's not able to transcend. Jaro can pull out the blade, but he might not have to in this situation. He didn't really see a good opportunity immediately. Bi-Week, though split up, is doing a decent job, but there's the blade from Jaru in the back, gets Waifu, dashes in. That's probably going to be about it. And actually, he's getting boofed and bopped around by Winston.
Yeah, the Primal Rage definitely able to allow them to disengage, but he's not going to survive long now as they push forward. Now Crimzo with the Transcendence on top of the carts. No one's able to make it there for Bi-Week. So EnVision now will take the early 2-0 lead.
All right. Like you just said, EnVision's up 2-0 in this already. This is not looking good so far for Bi-Week. It seems like there's a lot of... you had talked about how the communication seems kind of scattered in this. There's not really a comprehensive plan as they're moving in.
Well, again, it's not so much communication, it's more just the coordination where they're getting bullied out by tanks. They're not able to really deal with flankers at all. So how are you going to engage well here in Overwatch with what you're doing? You either need your flankers to put you up on the right foot, or you need your tanks to be playing well. And when you're getting dominated on both aspects of the game, you're just done.
Yeah, that second to last fight, I pinpointed it right there. We saw that Buds was going after Pizza Demon, and he had the pocket of Dell, the Mercy. And then all of a sudden, they decide to pull the switch and go ahead and dive upon the enemy team when Buds is still there, threatening your Zenyatta. You're not supposed to let that happen. Like, you should already know there should be some call to say, hey, everyone come back, try and deal with Buds right now. He's using a lot of blinks. I mean, he was down to one, maybe two blinks there. He was very vulnerable because he had already used his recall too. There's something missing going on there from bye week.
Well, to that point too, don't forget that Dell was in the back healing the Zenyatta while that was going on, right? Meanwhile, his front line is heading in, so Dell leaves his Zenyatta to die, but at the same point, he wasn't in time with the rest of his team, so his tank front line is getting crunched right as he gets there. It's not good across the board how they're running these engagements, and it's part tank play, it's part flanking play, where when you get outclassed in both, it's going to find it very difficult to win a game of Overwatch. We
have some playback here. This is Buds. You guys had actually, ZP made the point that nobody really paid much attention to him.
No, that's what happens. It's just like, yeah, bomb, 2 dead. Why not?
Yeah, that was one of the more effective bombs that I've seen.
I mean, it was just the chosen one, Buds, right? He got handed down the cloak of invisibility from his dad, and there he is. No one's dealing with him at all. But ultimately, that fight started off just because there was, you had mentioned it, ZP, during the game, the McCree was just way out of position. He was over by Dumpster when usually you see the hit scan on top of Cafe.
Yeah, and I mean, look, here's the thing, is that Buds is a very good player. Like, let me not take away anything from Buds for the statement I'm about to be going in here, but he's not that good of a player, is the issue that's going on right now, is that he's very good, but he should be getting checked. Right now, I kind of feel like we've kind of gone back in time, or we've used a time machine to put LeBron James up against Muggsy Bogues. It's just like, this is a fair matchup. Just please go defend LeBron. It's like, no, you need someone in the same weight class at the very least to make it competitive.
All right, well, we are going to take a short break, but when we get back, we're going to see if bye week can pull anything out from this. We're going to be back, hang out, fingers crossed, honestly.